Alright, so now that we have all the walls up and ready to go, we are going to start punching some holes in the walls where the doors and windows are located. So we're going to start at the front door. I'm going to zoom in here. So there's lots of ways to go about working with SketchUp, and everything that I show you guys is just my way of doing it. If you have a different way, be open to it. Learn from everybody who does it differently than I do, because that's how you actually end up mastering the software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first draw some guidelines to help kind of like sketch in the door, and then we'll trace the guidelines so that we can get two different faces, and then we punch a hole right into the door. The guidelines come from the measuring tape tool, and it's easy to find because it looks just like a measuring tape. So I'm going to click on it, and what it does is if you click on a corner or an edge of the room, click and drag I should say, you'll see that it pulls out a guideline that is parallel to the same line that you just pulled from. So there's two ways of going about this. You can drag it over, drop it, and then type in the distance that you want it to be from the original line that you pulled it from. So if I want it to be 12 inches away, there's that guideline right there. I'm going to Control Z so that I can get it fresh. The second way of doing it is to grab and drag, but then you see we have the doorway located right here at the wall. So I'm going to just bring my cursor down so that it snaps to where the door and the wall meet. And there I've placed the guideline. So let's try that one more time. This time I'm going to grab from a guideline instead of the corner. So you can click and drag and move your cursor down to the door, and you'll see it says 3 feet. We've got a purple circle. Drop it and you're good to go. The one thing that you need to be cautious of when you're doing this is to not drag it and then accidentally come away from the wall. See how that guideline is following the door? Make sure that you snap it right to the wall. If your guidelines are located off the wall, this technique is not going to work so great. So there I've got the width of the door. Now I have to do the height. So 6'8" is the height of a typical door. So we're going to click on the floor line this time and drag upwards. Now sometimes it's really hard to lock into the up, so if you hit the up arrow on your keyboard, you'll see that that blue line got really bold and I'm locked in place. So all I have to do is drag it and type 6'8", enter. And there we have the door. So just to demonstrate that one more time for you guys, drag from the floor line so that you get a nice parallel line. I'm going to click the up arrow on my keyboard so that it locks in place, and then I'm going to type 6'8", enter. Alright, so that was the first step. The second step is going to be to take the line tool or the pencil tool and to actually draw on the wall using the guidelines. So click, click, and notice how they're bold right now, those lines that we just drew, and when I click on this next one, they got a little bit dimmer. So that indicates that we've actually scored the wall with the pencil. So if I use my push-pull tool, you'll see that there's two different faces on this wall. What I want to do is I want to push in on the door just a little, and then if you type 12 inches, you'll see that it cut a hole right into the door. Now that only worked because the walls themselves were 12 inches thick, so whatever the thickness is of the thing that you're trying to punch a hole into, that's what you need to type. Let me show you another technique that can work, but just not as effectively, I guess, would be to push the door in until you see it go kind of translucent, like that right there. See how it says it's on face? So I was dragging it, and then I got to this point, and then let go of your mouse, and that door should cut. So I do like the typing in of the measurement. I think it works much more accurately that way. So just be aware of that as you go. So let's do this on another door. Let's do it on this back bedroom door here. Same concept. Measuring tape tool. Drag out a parallel line. Drop it to the line work. Always work on the side of the wall that you can see the door so that you can do this. And oh, see, it's trying to say, hey, you can go to any of these spots, but I definitely want to keep it up against the wall. And then of course you can drag it all the way up, 6'8". You can drop it anywhere and then type, it doesn't really matter. And there is the door. Trace. Dimmed lines indicates that we have two faces. I always check to make sure before I actually push. This wall is, I believe, 5 inches, so we're going to push it in just a little. Type 5, enter, and there's the door. Let's do it another time, you guys. We got a couple doors. Here in the bathroom, same thing, measuring tape tool. Grab it, drop it to the outside line of the door, and then to the swing side of the door. Up from the floor, drop it, 6'8", enter, trace it. I might be going a little fast for you, so make sure that you pause the video if you need to. And then we're going to push in. Now this wall is 8 inches, so I'm going to type 8, and there we have that. And the last door that we have is right here. So measuring tape, pull from the corner, drop it at the first part of the door, grab here, and then we already have the guideline up there, so we are free to draw right on the wall. Now see what happened? I didn't draw right on there, and the reason why is because that guideline was actually not on the wall. Do you see how that worked? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete all of the guidelines. So I'm going to go up to Edit and Delete Guides, and then I'm going to erase this line because I didn't actually draw it on the wall. So let's do this again. Measuring tape tool, drop it, floor line up. So again, the reason why that happened was my walls are different thicknesses, so the guideline wasn't actually directly on the wall. That would have caused some problems. You would find very quickly you couldn't cut a hole. So now we can, now that we actually worked it out. There we go, we dim the lines, push it in, and this is also a 5-inch wall. There we go. So a 5-inch wall is a basic wall. I use 8-inch walls for any time that there's plumbing. So for instance, right here, this is meant to be a washer and dryer setup, which does have a wall right here. So I didn't actually catch this wall at the very beginning. So I'm going to show you another trick on how to add a wall if you don't catch these little walls, is to also use the measuring tape tool. We're going to pull a guide out to it, and then also to the same side, and then I'm going to draw the line all the way up and all the way up. And then you use the push-pull tool, and you could pull a wall straight out from another wall. Look at that. The only thing you have to be cautious of and get really down in here is to make sure that you pull it all the way. Sometimes you think you got it pulled and it's actually doing something like this. So make sure you get it zoomed in pretty far so that you can see it. Excellent. Oh, and you know what? Here is another one of those little walls. Isn't that crazy? This one, however, is going to be a half height wall. So a vanity in a bathroom is usually 30 inches high, although some people like to keep it kitchen height. So we're going to just do the standard 30 inches. So maybe I want the wall to be 36 inches. So it kind of creates a little lip from my vanity cabinet. So again, measuring tape tool. We're going to grab it here. We're going to drop it down there at the floor line. Line it up. You feel it snap there. Then once your guidelines are in, you just draw straight up. Now, do I need to have a guideline? Not necessarily. I like to have them just to help me check things out a little bit, but you probably could just draw a line straight up from here all the way up. Just make sure you're drawing straight. Push-pull tool. We're going to bring that out, and again, I just want to make sure I'm getting nice and tight and snug right here. See how I was almost there, but not quite? There we go. Okay, so like I said, I wanted this to be a half height wall. I didn't necessarily want like a full wall. So I am going to measuring tape tool, grab a line up here. I'm going to go to 36 inches. So there I've got the guideline. I'm going to draw my line here. And with the push-pull tool, I can do the same thing. I can push until I either get here and let go and it'll cut it, or I could type 5 inches and it would cut it as well. So there's like a little mini wall right there. Beautiful. Is there anything else that I missed? I don't think so. I think I got it all now finally. Good deal. Okay, so now we've cut holes for the doors, we've added the little walls, so now it's time to look at the windows. But if you notice, the windows are hiding underneath the walls, so I can't even see where they were originally placed. But never fear, there's lots of ways that we can go about doing this. The way that I'm going to show you is we are going to unlock this CAD floor plan that we imported, and we're going to lift it all the way to the top so that we can see the plan, and then we can install the windows, or at least punch a hole for the windows using it that way. So right now my AutoCAD is locked because it's red when I selected it. So I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to choose unlock, and what you should see is it goes blue. I'm now going to take the move command and I'm going to go, let's go right here at this corner, right by the front door. I'm going to click at the floor line, and what it does is it attaches to my cursor, and then I'm going to lift it all the way up to the top and click on that same vertical line just the top of it. And now you can see the floor plan is sitting on top, and now I can see the windows again. So I don't want to move my CAD drawing for any reason, so I'm going to right click on it and choose lock, and it goes red again. So now I can't accidentally move it off of where it's located. Alright, so you can work inside or outside. It really doesn't matter for the windows. I think I'm just going to work from the outside because it's a little easier to maneuver. And it is the same thing as the doors. So, measuring tape tool, grab the edge, and then snap it. So I call it the drag and snap. Drag it, snap it. Drag it, snap it. We're trying to get it flush with the wall. Drag it, snap it, right there. Alright, so the height of your windows is totally up to you. A lot of architects like to keep the windows at the same height as a door. Sometimes you want them bigger. It really doesn't matter to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these front ones to the same height as a door. So I'm just going to click from the floor, drag up, and snap to the door height. So that's 6'8". The sill as well, it really doesn't matter how high you want it to go. I kind of like to do 3 feet from the finished floor level, because then I could put like a couch underneath the window and then my kitty can sit on the couch and watch out the window. So I'm going to click from the floor line, go up 3 feet. I'm just going to type it. It said 3 feet, but I'm just going to make sure. 3 feet, and it's locked. So there are the windows. So pencil tool. We're going to sketch that out because this is the entity that actually allows us to cut out the window. Push pull, push it in a little, type 12, enter, and there you've got a hole cut out. Now you can go in any combination if you want to do all the windows at once, if you want to draw all the guides at once. It doesn't really matter, find your groove. I like to do it all at once. There we go. Beautiful. Yep, and let's go ahead and keep moving. So this next window, I want this to be a little bit larger because it's meant to be more of like a picturesque, looking out at an ocean view or something kind of window. So I'm going to at least get this going. So even on diagonals, you can do the same thing, drag and snap. drag and snap. This time I'm just going to go up a foot, 1 foot, and then I'm going to come down about, let's do 2 feet from the top. It's not a whole lot different, huh? So I'm gonna go back on that. Let's just do 1 foot from the top. 1 foot, 1 foot and 1 foot. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a nice big picture window. All right, so pencil. The lines go dim, that indicates I got it right on the wall. Push it in a little, 12 inches, and there is that nice big picture window. So then you can also look from the inside to see what that's going to look like. Now, like I said, you can do it at any height that you want. If you want to keep them all the same height, you can. If you want them all to be nice and big picture windows like this, you can. It's totally up to you. Let's do the next window, which would be this one back here in the bedroom. Measuring tape tool, corner, drag and snap, dragging and snapping. I'm going to go up from a foot right here too, because it'd be nice to have a view of the ocean from my bedroom as well. 1 foot, we're on vacation, why not, right? That's why God invented curtains. There we go. And make sure I get the intersection. They dimmed, that means I'm perfectly on. 12 inches, there we go. Beautiful. All right, I'm starting to see a lot of these guidelines are driving me nuts, so I'm edit, delete guides. And then we have these 2 windows and we still have the ones in the dining area, so we're almost there. Drag and snap, drag and snap. Drag, snap. Oh, now what I did is I just drug out a measuring line. That's what I like to call those, and that's not the kind of guide I wanted. So there we go. Now I got the guideline. All right, these I want to be normal, so I'm gonna bring these up to 6'8", and then I'm gonna bring this up to 3 feet as well. There we go. So in the bedroom, I've got some windows that I could put a bed under or dresser or whatever. Maybe the back side of the villa doesn't have the best view ever. I'm just going to draw both windows and then push-pull tool, 12 inches and 12 inches. Yes, sirree, there we are. We're doing great. All right, so the last ones are these little dining halls, and I'm actually going to move Miss Claudia, or whatever her name is. I named her Claudia. I thought she looked like a Claudia. You can go stand over here by this big picture window. There we go. All right, so we're doing this again. Maybe I want a nice big picture window right here for the dining room and 2 smaller ones. Again, totally up to you what you want to do. So drag and snap, drag and snap, drag and snap. Oh yeah. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go from the top a foot and from the bottom up a foot. And then these are going to be normal, so I'm going to go from the bottom up. Oops, there's those measuring lines. I don't know how I always do that. 6'8", so that it matches the height of the door, and then 3 foot to match the other windows. Yep. Oops, I went the wrong direction, so let's go back from the bottom, because I know that that would be 6'8" for the top of the window, and 3 feet for that one. Beautiful. Wow, I've got lines everywhere, so you got to really pay attention to what you're doing on this one, okay? So let's concentrate on this guy. Pencil tool. Here is the window. It's kind of little. That's okay. Here's the big one. Here we go. And another little guy right here. Aw, so cute. Alright, so I'm going to push it in 12 inches, push it in 12 inches, and push it in 12 inches. And there we have it. Alright, so we can see everything and we can work on it. Now if something happened that maybe you didn't like these small windows and you want them to be big, you can always come in here and, for instance, you can push this part up. Like maybe you want to go another foot or something. If you want them to be a little bit wider than they were. Actually, I kind of like that look. And I do still like it a little staggered here, so I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to push both of these up 1 foot. And that way it kind of opens it up a little bit in there. Yeah, that should work okay. It does look a little strange, but you're stepping up. I don't know. I'm not an architect. I kind of do what I want. So you guys feel free to do what you want to. But yeah, there we go. So we have all the windows punched out. All the doors are punched out. Alright, so before we actually move on to the next video, there's one last step that we need to do, and I'm going to delete all these guides. And we're going to move the floor plan back down to the ground so that we can see it there. So we're going to grab it, right click, unlock, and then we're going to move it. So I'm actually going to move it from the outside this time. So move command. I'm going to grab it from this corner. It really doesn't matter what corner you grab it from, as long as you grab it from somewhere. And I'm going to place it down below, and then I'm going to right click and lock. There we go. We have the floor plan down on the ground again. What we need to do now that all of this is cut out is we need to make a group of our floor and our wall system. If we don't, any furniture that we put in here has the potential to actually stick to the surface, and once you place that furniture down, it'll try to take the floor or the wall with it. So we're going to keep things separate. So your floors and your walls can be grouped as one. That's not a big deal. Then you're going to group each furniture individually, and then also you're going to group things like your cabinets and stuff individually as well. So it's going to be like a mishmash of groups all together. So to group this, we're going to triple click, so 3 clicks on the floor plan, and that grabs everything. We do not want to grab the CAD file, so it should be black when you look at it. We're going to right click and then hit make group. So now every time that I look and click on this, it's going to click all as one, and it's just a nice big group. And if I ever need to edit it, like if I want to move this door or something, you just right click and you go to edit group. And then what you see is a dash box around your floor plan, and that just indicates that you're in the edit mode. To get out of edit mode, simply just click off in an empty area and you're back to it just being a group. Alright, so the next video we're going to show you how to actually install doors and windows into these cutouts.